Same recommendation. I'll say it now. I'll say it at the very end of our discussion. Do not vape. Stop. Especially for the next few months till we figure out what is going on. I showed you theoretically why this poor gentleman died, the 7th, as you mentioned, but there's 450 people, maybe a little less, who knows, you can't even keep track anymore, who have been hospitalized for vaping-related injuries. And the thing that's troubling us is we don't really know what went wrong. We think it's something that was added to primarily THC, medical marijuana vaping devices, but it could have been something added to nicotine ones too, because people who smoked only cigarettes have also had the problem. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The other reality here, and the reason the government is so angry, and the CDC stepping in, and President Trump's talked about this, is that we know that vaping companies have been selling to kids. 1 in 3 teens is saying they have vaped. And why? Because if you make a product that's bubble gum tasting, or designed for a kid's palate, plus you make it the size of a USB port, so you're hiding it from the parents, it's actively abetting this behavior, you're creating an addictive reality. Kids think they have to vape to get through life. We don't want our teens thinking that. So it's a 1-2 punch. You've got an industry which is, at least some members have been unscrupulously selling to kids, and also an industry that's unregulated, so you've gotten something added, something we don't realize is in these materials that our kids are vaping in, and adults, and it's causing people to die. So I think there's going to be regulation anyway, and I say it's really unfortunate because it does have promise. Vaping could help cigarette smokers get off cigarettes.
It's interesting because with cigarettes, it seems like it's an accumulative effect, right? Over years and years and years of doing this, you could have lung cancer, whatever. With vaping, it seems like it doesn't take as much time for you to have a major problem, even death in this case.
What with this contaminant, it's 1 puff. And I interviewed people on my show. One gentleman said he tapped the inhaler because it didn't seem to work, took 1 puff and felt like his lungs were exploding.
Wow.
One of them did. And I talked to him from his hospital bed, and his doctors were saying he has the lungs of an 80-year-old. Well, I mean, that's 1 puff. Why? Because we don't know what's in those cartridges. They're imported. It's complete, and we've been talking about this for a couple of years now, so please don't think this is a new phenomenon. You have no idea what you're heating to 500 degrees and then pushing into your lung. And when that grease coats your lungs, you dramatically injure them. It's called a lipoid pneumonia. It's a fat pneumonia. We don't have treatments for these things.
And you can take just one puff.
1 puff can do it, which is why people that I trust in the government, but you got to be forceful, saying do not vape until we figure that part of it out. Long term, you're going to see industry have to get penalized a little bit. As in California, Governor Newsom has expressed this. Governor Cuomo in New York, where I take my show, said the same thing. San Francisco's banned vaping.
Yeah.
So we actually have regulatory agencies getting involved. And I don't like that generally because I think industry should be regulated to be safe, not to be constrained.
Right.
But if they're not going to behave correctly, if they're seen as a force for evil, they're going to get penalized.
All right, so 3 words, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about something else that you don't hear